Just as I was leaving Vermilion City, I ran into Team Rocket Grunt, and after easily defeating him, he tossed me a TM for the move Dig as a distraction while he got away. I didn't really want to use it since he stole it from someone, but it did make me realize that a ground-type Pokemon would actually be really helpful for my next gym battle. On the way to Vermilion, I caught a Bellsprout on Route 5 who I named Mallow, and we did see a Meowth on Route 6 who I wanted to catch, but Nezuko didn't like the idea of another fluffy normal-type Pokemon on the team. When we got to Vermilion City, it was still a while before I had to board the SS Anne, so I decided to do some exploring. On Route 11, a Sandshrew literally tumbled into me, knocking me over like a bowling pin, and of course that made me like him, so I caught the little mischief maker and named him Hikaru. I also got jump scared by a Diglett in Diglett's cave who I caught and named Mirio. Since I had some time before I had to board the SS Anne, I decided to do some training with my newly caught Pokemon, but I also decided to bring along Kaname because I felt like he needed to be included. Hikaru was more than willing to help out with Kaname and even let Kaname confuse wild Pokemon before he came in to take them out. On the other hand, Mallow was kind of indifferent to Kaname's presence, while Mirio, being the strongest of my Pokemon, was kind of annoyed about having to share battles with him. In all honesty, Kaname didn't really have particularly strong attacks. He got hit really hard, and his accuracy was about as good as you'd expect from a blind Pokemon. But he definitely tried his best, and that was really all I was asking of him. Finally, it was time to board the SS Anne, so I sent over my new Pokemon to Professor Oak and boarded the ship with Victor, Keigo, Kacha, Nezuko, Drayden, and Genryusai. As Bill said, there were plenty of trainers on board, and most of them were more than happy to battle with me. None of them were particularly challenging, but my Pokemon definitely had fun going up against Pokemon they hadn't seen before. As we were wandering around looking for more people to battle with, we ran into Gary again. He said he wanted a rematch from when we battled in Cerulean, as his Pokemon had evolved since then, and honestly, he should have just accepted that his Abra was essentially beaten by a Magikarp. Because in this battle, Nezuko soloed his entire team with barely any effort. Gary was actually so stunned at this that he couldn't even come up with a snarky remark. Before Gary dashed off to go heal his Pokemon, he told me that the captain, who was suffering from seasickness, was a cut master, overemphasized that cut would be a useful move, and told me I should go see the captain. I swear, his helpful hints are getting less and less subtle. And so I went up to see the captain, who was indeed suffering with seasickness. I felt bad just leaving him hunched over a trash can, so I went over to help, and as a thank you, he gave me the HM for the move cut. Since the captain was ready to set sail, I politely excused myself, then raced off the ship as fast as possible. Because as much as I wanted to be on a cruise ship for the first time, I didn't feel comfortable being on one where the captain is prone to seasickness. And so I watched the ship leave the port and then headed back to Vermilion City to take on the gym. I decided that I would not be using the stolen Dig TM on any of my Pokemon, and the plan was to conquer the entire gym with Mirio. He got through the first trainer easily enough, but against the second trainer he got pretty hard with a Sonic Boom, and then retaliated with an unnecessarily overpowered Magnitude 10. I decided to go back to the Pokemon Center to heal, but accidentally ran into the wrong place, and found myself in the home of the chairman of the Pokemon fan club. He welcomed me as soon as I stepped in, and I didn't want to be rude, so I went over and greeted him, and then listened to him talk about his favorite Pokemon Rapidash, which honestly sounds like a really awesome Pokemon. Before leaving, he gave me a gift voucher for a free bike from the store in Cerulean, and then wished me good luck on the rest of my journey. After going to the right place to heal, we returned to the gym where Mirio once again made quick work of a Pikachu. And then began the real challenge, solving the puzzle to get to the gym leader. I don't know why a gym leader needed security measures against trainers, but who am I to judge? Eventually, I was able to hit both active switches successively and made my way to Lieutenant Surge. Lieutenant Surge's first Pokemon was a Voltorb, and wanting to avoid a potential Sonic Boom, I had Mirio use Dig. Unfortunately, it was just a little short of a one-shot, and Lieutenant Surge healed, so I had Mirio use Magnitude, and that was enough to take out the Voltorb. Next, Lieutenant Surge sent out a Pikachu, and once again a single Magnitude was enough for the one-shot. Finally, Lieutenant Surge sent out his Raichu, who was way faster than Mirio and started using Double Team, and Mirio ended up missing a Magnitude. He was able to connect with a Dig, but unfortunately he got zapped by Raichu's Static, and he was unable to move to pull off a Magnitude. This is why you always need a plan B, and my plan B was King, who just before this battle, I had evolved into Nidoking. He might not have any ground-type moves, but he does have a lot of bulk, and a single round of double kicks was enough to win the battle and earn us the Thunder Badge. After handing me the gym badge, Lieutenant Surge proceeded to pat me on the head, said I was special, and then gave me the TM for the move Shockwave to use once I got myself an electric Pokemon. Who knew the guy was such a softie? After healing and sending Mirio, who was throwing a temper tantrum over sharing the victory of the gym battle over to Professor Oak, I started making my way to Vermilion City to get my free bike. However, just as I was leaving, I was called back by one of Professor Oak's aides, who had a message for me. He said that there was another aide looking for me around Route 2, and I promised that I would go there to meet up with the aide, but before that, I headed off to Cerulean to claim my new ride. And so with my shiny new ride, we could speed off to Route 2, which, according to the map, we had to go back to Vermilion City to get to. So we were heading back to Vermilion City.